At noon with Tony Rima and Brendan Connor.
Good afternoon, I'm Jessica Gosselin. Well, Sudbury is in the provincial spotlight today. Premier Doug Ford is in the city to make an announcement this hour. NISA, the Northern Initiative for Social Action, is where he will be, and joining him, the Minister of Energy, Northern Development and Mines and Indigenous Affairs, Greg Rickford, and Michael Tobolo, the Associate Minister of Mental Health and Addictions. Now, that event is just getting underway, and we'll bring you more details as we get them. And tomorrow, Ford is expected to be in Gogama for a groundbreaking ceremony at the Cote Gold Project. Well, the North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit has recorded its first positive case of COVID-19 in over 2 months. Health officials say the infection happened while a man from the Nipissing district was outside of Canada. They say the man isolated abroad for 14 days and upon his return to the country, isolated again for another 2 weeks. The health unit says the man was not infectious while in the community and the case is now considered resolved. It's the 38th case within the North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit. Their charity played a pivotal role in a political scandal that consumed the country this summer. But now it's closing down in Canada. Founders Craig and Mark Kielburger gave an exclusive interview to CTV News anchor Lisa Laflamme, and they talked about what brought an end to the organization they created 25 years ago.
But if you ask us if we had the opportunity to answer that phone call again, I would say yes, we would. Yeah. And as crazy as that is, during a pandemic, when an opportunity to help 100,000 young people in this country, an opportunity to put up your hand, I'd do it all over again.
Aren't you angry?
Of course.
You're clearly upset.
Of course.
Who are you angry at?
Not angry at anything, I'm angry at the situation. You know, 25 years of incredible passion, incredible impact. The opportunity to change lives, an amazing team who've been there throughout that process. And then politics took over. And yes, of course, we were naive in the process, but this is not how it should be.
The Kielburgers say in the coming months, the charity will sell off its assets and will be letting all of its Canadian staff go. And for more on the We Charity story and all the stories we present today, visit our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. Well, Quebec is implementing extended measures to crack down on people violating COVID-19 restrictions. They include fines for people who don't follow mask guidelines. And Quebec Premier François Legault says violators put other people, especially seniors, at risk.
We cannot accept that a few irresponsible people put all Quebec at risk. It's time to penalize them. I'm announcing that starting Saturday, people who refuse to wear a mask without reason, where it's mandatory, will receive fines.
Legault says the province will provide more details on the new fines in the coming days. Well, it's time for your first check on weather today, and it looks like some of us could see that elusive sun. For more details, let's go to CTV's Will Aiello.
Yes, finally, Jessica, we're seeing some sunshine today. Most areas will see a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon. Temperatures still below seasonal, but we are warming up as we head into the weekend, but still might need those umbrellas. Let's have a look at our current conditions. Our first weather brought to you in part by Northern College. Proud to be North, proud to be Northern. We're already seeing sunshine in Gore Bay and 12 degrees. Kapuskasing mainly sunny and 14. Now looking a little cloudy right now in some areas, but again, we'll see sunshine later on. 10 degrees in Sudbury, 11 in North Bay. Timmins only 11 degrees. In Sault Ste. Marie, mostly cloudy and 13 degrees. Now, as we head into the weekend, we're going to have many fluctuations in the overnight lows. I'll touch on that later. Jess, back to you.
Thanks, Will. Well, COVID-19 is driving down the number of women in the workforce in Canada, and that is according to a new report from the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, which says women are returning to work at half the rate of their male counterparts. And as CTV's Alana Pickerel tells us today, the local picture in North Bay looks much the same.
A new report says the number of women participating in the economy is at the lowest level it's been in over 30 years.
They lost jobs at the beginning of the crisis at twice the rate that men did, and are coming back at half the rate.
Rossi says this is because women are underrepresented in sectors that have done better during the pandemic, sectors like technology and skilled trades. He adds women are now juggling childcare responsibility on a larger scale than before. In North Bay, Yes Employment Services says local trends support the report when comparing April to August in 2019 to 2020.
What we're seeing is that there is what we would say about an 8 to 10% difference in terms of the proportion of female clients going into the workforce as opposed to our male clients.
Officials say if there isn't a change, fewer women in the workforce will have a snowball effect, lowering the tax base and not being able to support local businesses and be consumers.
This isn't simply a question of equity. It's not simply a women's issue. This is fundamental to the economy and to recovery.
The North Bay Chamber of Commerce official says this report helps bring the issue to the forefront so it can be addressed.
I think that the business community, once they become aware of it, and they will look at their business practices, they will look at their hiring practices, they'll look at what accommodations can be made for people, single mothers that have childcare issues.
And although this is no immediate resolution, officials from the chamber agree that this is something that needs to be addressed immediately and continuously until it is corrected. Alana Pickerel, CTV News, North Bay.
The COVID-19 pandemic appears to be deepening the opioid crisis in the Cochrane area, which saw a high number of overdoses over the long weekend. The Timmins and Area Drug Strategy says Ontario saw a 40% rise in people increasing their substance abuse or gambling issues since the outbreak first began. The area's medical officer of health says naloxone continues to be one of the best tools available to save lives, saying the drug strategy is working with community partners to address the issue. And in Timmins, city councillors are expressing concerns about safety in the city. They say there is a need for a stronger outreach and police presence. CTV's Sergio Arangio reports.
We can't maintain what we're doing right now and save this city.
Timmins councillors discussed the shortcomings of the city's approach to tackling violence, homelessness, addictions, and mental health issues. The city's CAO says the COVID-19 pandemic isn't helping, and Mayor George Peary says those problems can't be solved in a day.
There's much work that's got to be done to make this better. Our whole society, not just Timmins, but our whole society better. And and we can get this done because I think we're working with a very enlightened piece of legislation with the Community Safety Wellbeing Community Plan.
As the city works on that plan, everyone from its local MP to the Social Services Board have been discussing options and pointing out service gaps. The Timmins Police Services Situation Table, which is meant to discuss safety concerns, hasn't met during the pandemic, but that's about to change as virtual meetings resume, with the service working with the resources and partnerships it has to improve conditions.
We have an obligation to be as creative, to be as focused and driven as possible. At no other time have we been more called upon to remedy situations that are the result of homelessness, drug abuse, and mental health issues.
DePazzi says the police service is looking at a new project with the Porcupine Health Unit's mental health nurses, and the city's report says social services intend to increase outreach in areas like the downtown. The local Business Improvement Association says its members have been pushing for more police presence and community outreach.
I think just seeing people on the street doing the work that needs to be done reduces the anxiety for everyone.
The city's expected to gather data over the next 2 weeks to determine where resources are needed. Sergio Arangio, CTV News, Timmins.
Not-for-profits have been among the organizations that have been hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. And now there's word that the Helping Hands organization in the Soo may not be able to continue its good work. CTV's Jairus Patterson has those details.
Volunteers with Sault Ste. Marie Helping Hands say COVID-19 ended up being a double-edged sword for the group. Although they had to close the doors during the pandemic, that didn't mean the clothing donations stopped. In fact, they received more than ever before.
We had so much donations, we just couldn't get rid of it fast enough. So I would make sure that people out here would be basically taken care of one way or the other.
So for 3 months, Gutcher would put clothes and household items on the street for anyone to take. Then recently, a week after reopening, the secondhand store had to close for 3 weeks after the tenant upstairs had a flood. In total, they were closed for 4 months this year, losing a lot of money.
Maybe $8,000. It's a lot. We've lost a lot, which means we are definitely, in desperate need to pay these bills.
The store runs on a pay-what-you-can system. Sometimes people come in with no money and leave with a new wardrobe. Gutcher and the volunteers just want to make sure everyone is warm and dressed for the weather.
If this place closed down, our community would have a huge, huge, huge loss. I don't know what our community would do without Sue Helping Hands, especially in the winter.
Having been closed for 3 months and the bills piling up, Gutcher says the organization only has enough money for the next 3 months. She says unless somebody steps up and makes a donation, the store will not be open in 2021. Jairus Patterson, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Meanwhile, a Sudbury-based not-for-profit got a big boost of support this week. Facing a surge in demand in recent weeks, the Elgin Street Mission has a new set of wheels to help get food delivered to those who need it most. CTV's Ian Campbell has more.
It's clean, colorful, and brand new, but most importantly, it's a reliable ride for an agency that does so much for the city. Jerry Lougheed spearheaded the move to get the mission a new van as part of his family's foundation.
Food has always been a very important thing to the Lougheed family, more importantly feeding the hungry people and making sure that everybody has enough food.
The Lougheed Foundation's donation of $25,000, combined with Crosstown Chevrolet's donation and the sale of the mission's old truck, resulted in the organization coming out $2,000 ahead.
Well, I think their needs are growing. Their deliveries are getting larger, so they wanted something a little heavier. So we went on a search, found them this, and I think it's going to do the trick.
It couldn't come at a better time for the mission where the need is up. It has seen record numbers since the weather cooled off last week. COVID, the economy, the drug epidemic, no matter what the reason, the mission is seeing new faces.
Our volunteers are fantastic, and they know the faces, and there is a ton of brand new faces that they're seeing come through the doors. And so we want to be able to serve them the very best that we're able to.
Robichaux is the new woman at the helm of the mission and is already up to speed with what it's facing. Times are tough for everyone, and she says donations are always welcome, financial or otherwise.
Record numbers being 228 on Sunday night we fed, and so as those numbers creep up, we're going to meet that need, and we know that Sudbury is a community that is super generous and has helped us to do that, and so we look forward to what that looks like in the future.
The van will go to work right away, getting that help around the city to those who need it most, trying to make sure no man, woman, or child in the city goes hungry. Ian Campbell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Construction season is well underway in the north as cities hurry to finish up projects before the cold weather comes. And in North Bay, drivers will have to endure some slowdowns for a little while longer. Here's CTV's Eric Tashner.
Crews are finishing work at two of the city's largest infrastructure capital projects, but not everyone is happy with how long